You are now firing a gun at your imaginary friend near 400,000 nitroglycerin!
I almost think that Tyler made the first two rules. First rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. The second rule is blah, blah, blah.
You don't talk about Fight Club. Feels like a lot of people have been breaking the first two rules.
A lot of the time, people break rules when they're told specifically not to do a certain thing. And I think being that he's kind of preying on people that are obviously weaker than him and will fall in line easy, he's almost counting on them to break said rule, and they are breaking said rule, and that's why the message of Fight Club is spreading.
It was spreading way further than like we were led to believe. You would see the fights around town breaking out, and it was like, okay, cool. Everyone getting their like crazy homework assignments and just like blowing up TV stations and like crazy shit. But then once they started moving it to different cities, I was like, oh.
Did you start that one? No, I didn't start. I thought you did.
Bob's even found one up in Newcastle. Yeah, did you start that one? No, I thought you did.
Nah.
So right after that, the homework assignment is he tells them all he wants them to go out and start a fight, but you have to lose. And that's when Jack walks into his boss's office and he just beats the fuck out of himself. He beats the shit out of himself. He throws himself through the shelving unit behind him, through the glass table.
The glass table.
And his boss is just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? And he crawls up to him and he basically blackmails him into paying him a salary from home. Security walks in at that moment, and now please don't hit me.
And blood's all over the boss.
And now they have corporate sponsorship. Right after they get corporate sponsorship, Tyler's in the basement and he's looking at the camera and you're not your job. You're not the car you drive. You're not the contents of your wallet. Not your fucking khakis. And like it feels like he's just talking to you, and the frame starts to shake. I don't know. It's weird. A lot of it, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and you can't explain. But I love that about the movie for some reason.
It definitely dips into that cult maker mentality. Where
you have to be really good with your words and deception, and
it's very much the giving them a common enemy to fight against. With that being the man, for lack of a better term, the capitalism of everything. It was very easy to lure people with nothing and give them something to fight for.
Tyler's building bunk beds in the bed. He's like, what the fuck are you building bunk beds for? And then you see there's a guy outside, and he walks out and tells him to get the fuck off his porch. And he's like, if they're too old, they're too old. They're too fat, they're too fat. They're too young, they're too young.
Right. If the applicant is young, tell me he's too young. Old, too old, fat, too fat.
Applicant?
They have to sit there with no food, no water, no shelter for 3 days with no encouragement, and they'll let him in. And this is when like the weird Project Mayhem part starts. It's evolving into like a terrorist organization, basically. Tyler's building himself an army. Did you notice that the guy with bleach hair is Jared Leto?
It took me a minute, but that's when I was like, I saw his name in the credits, so that's why I was like on the lookout for him.
They never call him this in the movie, but in the book, his name is Angel Face. So you have Angel Face and Bob outside. I love he's like, you're too fucking old, fatty. And you're too fucking blonde.
Oh, that was a great one.
Get the fuck off my porch. I'm going to go inside and grab a shovel.
You're too old, fat man. Your tits are too big. Get the fuck off my porch.
They threaten the police commissioner who is investigating Project Mayhem. They beat the fuck out of him in a bathroom. And they threatened to castrate him and cut his balls off.
Or these guys are going to take your balls.
And it was so easy for them to infiltrate that because Tyler had been doing catering jobs on and off. So
we find out that Tyler has a bunch of weird night jobs, and one of them is working as a projectionist where he splices films together. He splices single frames of pornography into like Disney family films.
Like splicing single frames of pornography into family film.
That is, in its own way, mayhem and insanity.
Nobody knows that they saw it, but they did.
Nice big cock.
So Tyler's starting to get closer to Angel Face, and Jack is clearly jealous because they have this weird fucking relationship where he's envious of anyone else who gets close to Tyler and talks to him. And this is the other moment where I know it's coming and I almost have to turn away every time I watch it, when he beats the fuck out of Jared Leto, knocks his teeth out, he swells his face shut. And this is one of those scenes where every punch, I feel like not only can you hear the fist and the skin colliding, you could hear the sweat hitting the concrete.
Yeah, man, this was one of those fights where even I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then afterwards, when he comes out and he's like, just from like the nose up is just a whole swollen
Mm-hmm.
fucking.
He opens his mouth for a second and like all of his teeth are gone. I felt like destroying something beautiful.
Where'd you go, psycho boy?
I felt like destroying something beautiful.
Well, mission accomplished.
Yes, you destroyed Angel Face's face.
He's not no angel face no more.
No. This is when you could tell that Project Mayhem is replacing it, because he jumps in a car in I guess it's like a taxi cab service, and he's talking and there's two recruiters in the back, and he's like, the first rule of Project Mayhem is you do not ask questions. So now not only the rules changing, but the name is now Project Mayhem. It's no longer Fight Club. You could tell how extremely jealous he is. He's like, why didn't you tell me about Project Mayhem? I should know certain things. We started this together. Tyler's saying how this does not belong to us. We are not special. You decide your level of involvement. And he almost gets into an accident. And all of a sudden, he just tells him to stop trying to control everything about your life and just let go.
Stop trying to control everything and just let go. Let go!
And he literally lets go of the wheel. And they get into a fucking accident. The whole entire car flips off the side of the road, or no, it hits a car that's in the shoulder, I believe.
Right, yeah. And then it like hits the guardrail and they all go crazy.
And then this is another one of the little hints they give when you watch it again. So he's driving, Jack's in the passenger seat. Tyler gets out of the opposite side he was sitting on and pulls Jack out. So this is also when Tyler admits to blowing up his condo.
Mm. Yeah, because there's been a police officer who's been calling every once in a while to be like, P.S., we're still going to check up on that.
Yes. And you could tell even during that conversation, you could tell like he's starting to sound like Tyler. The way he's not like innocent anymore. He's not clueless. He almost knows what's going on, and Tyler's speaking for him. As he's having the conversation, Tyler's either telling him what to say or he's like saying, just tell him you blew it up. But the detective can't hear him.
Right.
So it's literally like Tyler's coming through Jack. All of a sudden he wakes up in bed and Tyler's gone. And you could tell how much he relies on Tyler and their weird dysfunctional relationship, especially with him towards Tyler, that he almost feels like a girlfriend broke up with him. He feels abandoned.
Lost, like a little lost puppy.
Yes. And all of a sudden they come back from a failed mission and Bob is shot in the head. And it's the first time you actually see a casualty from Project Mayhem or from Fight Club or from like their organization.
It was definitely first of all the effects that they did on
Yes.
that was spot on. Loved it.
Yes.
But then like that was definitely when things started getting more real. It was like, all right, there's consequences and we clearly know the consequences, so all right, we're still doing this.
There's more risks being taken. They're vandalizing places, they're destroying public property. In that mission, they were trying to destroy a piece of art and also destroy a trendy coffee shop, which was actually supposed to be a Starbucks, but they couldn't get permission to use Starbucks in it. So they used Starbucks throughout the movie, but they didn't tell Starbucks. It was already in there.
That's hilarious.
Like a fucking crazy ex-girlfriend. And also out of legit concern, he's trying to track Tyler down. He's following him in his footsteps. He's trying to look up receipts, look up airline tickets, look up hotel receipts and all this stuff, trying to find out where he's been. And he keeps on saying how it feels like I'm in a constant state of deja vu. It feels like I'm following the invisible man.
It was like following an invisible man.
And while he's looking, he keeps on finding all these random people that like, no, I've never heard of Tyler Durden, and they'll wink at him. He finds a bartender that they're all doing his name is Robert Paulson, like fucking ritual thing in the back room. And all of a sudden you see a bartender with a halo because he has a broken neck. And he starts telling him how he's like, security's airtight, sir. He's like, do I know you? He's like, is this a test? And he's like, no, this is not a test. He's like, how do you know me? He's like, you were here last Thursday. You were the one that gave me this. And he basically tells him that he's Tyler Durden.
I wish there was a slight flashback in that moment where I could kind of have seen a little bit of that, almost like like they did in Ocean's 11, where it was like, oh, like this is kind of how we set this up. This is kind of what we did here. Just because, like, I would have liked to see a little of that.
Well,
I feel like for me that would have helped to at least seen one of them kind of doing that, where it didn't just feel like all of this was happening behind the scenes and then it just was like, holy shit, all of this is here. It didn't give that natural kind of build, or it was like, okay, we're here and then we're there and then we're there and then we're there. It kind of just went boom.
do
Now
you
we're
mean
0 to 60.
do you mean more of him giving the bartender the scar, or do you mean
More of the like Tyler shenanigans. Like I would have liked to see a flashback of Tyler meeting up with like that group of people, or
gotcha,
like
okay.
Tyler on a plane doing like more things, like all of the things that set up the bigger picture of Project Calamity Jane, chaos, anarchy, terrorism.
So he ends up going back to the hotel room and Tyler is there and he's explaining to him that they're the same person and he doesn't get it.
All the ways you wish you could be, that's me. I look like you want to look, I fuck like you want to fuck, I am smart, capable, and most importantly, I'm free in all the ways that you are not.
And this is where you kind of get like what you were looking for. He's like looking, he's like, this doesn't make sense. Like, or he's like, go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it. And he's like, we're the same person. And all of a sudden you see flashbacks of him fighting himself in the parking lot, him giving himself the scar on the table, Jack running Fight Club, where we saw previous scenes of Tyler saying certain speeches, him running Project Mayhem when he's on top of the building and he's directing them to blow up the windows to make the big neon green smiley face. We find out that he's basically an imaginary friend, an hallucination, a weird alter ego.
The flashbacks that they did at that moment, I would have liked a little bit more of that, like afterwards. Like, okay, this is kind of how I did this, even if it was me being Tyler.
Yeah. Oh, I understand what you're saying, but I think they almost did it because this is completely my version. But I think they did it to kind of leave more mystery to how certain things happened. You know what I mean? Because like the answer that a director or a writer can give me is never going to be as good as my imagination is when it's open ended. I understand they had to show them like in the parking lot when he's literally just throwing himself around, or he's sitting at the table with the kiss happening on his hand.
Yeah.
But some of that, as we see later on, it could be really cool looking too, though. Like that fight scene, we'll get to it, but I guess it wouldn't have hurt to explain more. But also,
Like a little bit more. Like I don't need everything explained to me the whole time, but like just if you're gonna give me like breadcrumbs, and I'm not always the best at following them. Like sometimes maybe give me like a chunky breadcrumb or like two right next to each other, so I feel like I got something good out of it.
no, I understand what you're saying. It probably would have been cool if you saw like in that exact moment. Maybe this would have worked. In that exact moment, he's like, "You're Mr. Durden. You're the one that gave me this." And then as he's like explaining it to him, maybe you see a quick flash of Jack, not Tyler, doing whatever to his hand, or maybe how he broke his neck if he was fighting him or something.
Right.
Or something like that. Jack attempts to warn the buildings that Tyler plans to blow up, but they're all in on it.
You got security. You got the everyday man. You got who bases were covered.
He attempts to turn himself into the police, and he goes in there and he's talking to the same detective that's working the case for his condo. He leaves, and all of a sudden they all look at him. He's like, "This is great. This is great what you're doing here, sir." He's like, "If Tyler told us that if you ever no, what did he say? He said, was it, did he say you or did Tyler? He said something about if anyone ever interfered with Project Mayhem, we got to take his balls. So just like the police commissioner, they were trying to hold him down to fucking castrate him and take his balls. He's like, I'm not even Tyler Durden. You told us you'd say that. All right, I am Tyler Durden. This is a direct order. Abort this mission. You told us you'd say that too, sir.
So
And
like that part of it makes it pretty like the schizophrenia was extreme where he was like, I am aware, my other self is aware that this is not necessarily how it looks. So I need to plant the seeds of like, okay, I'm gonna say this, but don't believe me. I'm gonna say this, but also don't believe me.
yeah. I think one of the funniest scenes in the whole movie is just when you see Jack escape the police station and running down the street of the city in slow motion with a fucking firearm in just his underwear.
And it's those like super Hollywood boxers where
Yeah.
it's like just a over dramatic pair of shorts.
Yeah, if that was today, that would definitely be briefs. But you know what? If anyone would be wearing ugly ass looking boxers, it'd probably be him.
Yeah, 100%.
As we see throughout the movie, Brad Pitt is not wearing underwear.
Yes, very much so.
He's showing off the lower part of his abs, where you can tell he's freeballing in every fucking pair of pants that he's wearing.
Uh very much. I don't know if that was a style thing back then, but he made it one.
Yeah, he did. Well, if you got abs that fucking good, I think you can do whatever the hell you want. So Tyler plans to destroy all the credit card company buildings. If you erase the debt record, we all go back to zero, total chaos.
I am for this.
I think this maybe wouldn't work now with the internet, with how big the internet was. Or how big the internet is now. I guess maybe the servers were there, but at the time the internet was such a new thing. Like you said, it was pre Y2K.
Yeah,
So the idea of like we blow up the credit card buildings, the internet records are gone. It's almost
right.
like the filing cabinets are there.
Exactly. It was definitely the right plan for the turn of the century, kind of turn of the millennium, turn of
Yeah.
for the times.
After Jack hilariously escapes the police station, he finds the location of the buildings where all the bombs are going to go off. There's like 10 or 11. I think he said there's 10 other ones. Okay, so there's 11. There's multiple vans that are rigged to explode in the parking garages of all these credit card buildings. And Jack goes there to try to stop it, and Tyler's there. So in the book, Tyler does not care about killing people, right?
Okay.
Now that you look back, he doesn't actually kill anyone. He's not responsible per se for like actually pulling the trigger on anyone or physically killing someone with his bare hands. They changed it where they wanted to almost make the reader sympathize and understand his greater message for all the shit that he's doing, even though it is fucked up. So he's like, the buildings, all those people, and he's like, we're not killing anyone, man. We're setting them free. All those buildings are evacuated. There's no one there. I think it's one of the coolest scenes in the movie, especially seen for the first time. I'm curious the way how you saw it when he detonates the bomb that's in the van. I love it. He's like, "You're now firing a gun at your imaginary friend at 400 pounds of nitroglycerin."
Whoa! Whoa! You are now firing a gun at your imaginary friend near 400 gallons of nitroglycerin!
And then he does it again, and then he just drops his jacket off and starts beating the shit out of him. And we see all these flashes where he just getting the shit kicked out of him, and you'll see like a security camera or something, and it's Jack is just like Tyler's pulling him by the hair from our perspective, and it goes to the security camera, and the's no one there.
He's just pulling himself along the ground by the hair.
Or like he'll be running away from Tyler over here, and he'll turn the corner, and Tyler pops up and just clotheslines him.
Throwing himself down the stairs.
Yeah. I love that part in the movie. I thought it was such a cool way to film that scene.
And like I liked the cuts to the security camera.
Yeah.
Personally, I as a viewer, I would like an end credit scene of just like, hey man, did you see the security tape? And it's literally just like the entire him like running around the truck by himself, like running under, pretending like he's throwing stuff at an imaginary, dragging.
He's just firing the gun. There's no one fucking there.
And the security guards are like, all right, who's gonna win?
Yeah. Well, they probably end up being part of Project Mayhem. So this is when the movie returns to the beginning, the opening scene where he has the gun in his mouth. And he even makes a joke saying he's trying to talk and he has a gun in his mouth and he takes it out and he's like, "What do you think?" He's like, I can't think of anything." And he makes a
I
joke
still
about
can't think of
he's
anything.
like he says the second time around he says, "I still can't think of anything," and Tyler even goes, "Oh, flashback humor." So it's almost like he's talking to the audience. I think there's a bunch of cool things like that throughout the movie. Otherwise, he's like, suddenly I thought about how clean that gun was, and you see him go, even though he just had a gun in his fucking mouth, he's
Right.
worried about the gun being dirty. And Tyler's counting down to the destruction of the buildings, and Jack figures out, he's like, none of this is real. He's like, you're not holding the gun, I'm holding the gun. And all of a sudden the gun is in his hand, and he puts the gun to his head, and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, why do you got a gun to your head? And he's like, not my head, our head. And he shoots himself.
The right way to go about it, obviously, like,
We have to remember that we're following a narrator who is schizophrenic and is obviously unreliable. So someone like him would think, if I shot myself in the head, it would kill my imaginary friend.
kill two birds with one stone. Like, we have the same brain at that point. Like, if we're the same person, then if I can't shoot at you, then I have to shoot at me.
Yeah. So this is another difference from the book to the movie. So in the actually, we'll get there right after we get to the very, very ending. So he shoots him in the head and it kills Tyler. Tyler falls down. He has smoke coming out of his mouth. And Marla walks in and he has his hand right here, like holding the blood from coming out of the side of his neck. And Marla sees it. I love how she's like, you got a lot of balls bringing me here. Oh my God, your face.
The fact that he survived
Yeah.
a gunshot to the head area is confusing.
Yeah.
I
Well, he
mean,
didn't shoot himself like in the brain. It's more like, I guess it's like a metaphorical suicide that, again, we're talking about his fucking imaginary friend here from a schizophrenic man. Like, you're not going to get a logical explanation.
true,
The
true.
idea of him being willing to shoot himself in his own head, I guess that's enough for him, in the movie anyway, to kill off Tyler.
Right, but I mean, like, the idea that, like, it kills off Tyler, but it doesn't kill off Jack
Yes.
is very, like, okay, is there a schizophrenic nerve that if you just happen to graze, it lowers your chance of seeing imaginary friends?
Yeah, it's in your jaw/thyroid. That's where Tyler lives. He looks at Marla and he says, everything's going to be okay. Trust me. You met me at a very strange time in my life. And they're holding hands and the buildings start to blow up. This is a fun fact that you'll appreciate. So the buildings start falling, right? The building all the way to the left, when the buildings first start falling, is the
Mhm.
same building they use for Nagatomi Tower in Die Hard.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And the Pixies plays right here. It's the first song throughout the entire movie that actually has lyrics in it. It symbolizes that the whole movie wasn't clear up until the ending, where you kind of start to see things fall into place, I guess, when you get the explanation of the twist. So that's why there's lyrics at the very end.
Through the rubble brings clarity.
Yes. The Pixie song starts to play, all the buildings fall, and all of a sudden you see that big dick flash on the screen. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
The big dick flashes on the screen, credits, moves over. But it leaves it open-ended where you're like, okay, well, what happened? This
Right.
is
Like,
where
someone
this
just shot
is
themselves in the head. Are they gonna clearly die?
yeah, so the Pixie song, "Where Is My Mind? Where is my mind?" So it kind of goes with like the meaning of the ending. But I'm gonna read you the last couple sentences in the book. So in the book, the buildings actually don't fall.
Oh.
So in the book, Tyler is almost meant to be like a laughing stock at the very end, because he's telling him he keeps on correcting him about how to mix certain ingredients with the nitroglycerin to make dynamite. And all of a sudden, he realizes that he didn't put an ingredient in, and the buildings don't fall. But he does shoot himself in the head, though. That whole thing
Okay,
still happens.
that's canon.
So he shoots himself in the head, and all of a sudden, he wakes up in what he thinks is heaven, and he's in a psych ward talking to the doctor or psychiatrist, whatever, who he thinks is God. So he's obviously like not completely awake yet and aware what's going
Right.
on. Because every once in a while somebody brings me my lunch tray and my meds, and he has a black eye or his forehead is swollen with stitches, and he says, "We miss you, Mr. Durden." Or someone with a broken nose pushes a mop past me and whispers, "Everything's going according to plan." Whispers, "We're going to break up civilization so we can make something better out of the world." Whispers, "We look forward to getting you back."
Oh,
So the book is, it's still happening.
yeah. Ooh.
So in Fight Club 2,
Electric Boogaloo?
in Fight Club 2, it's almost about him embracing what Tyler stood for, but as him. In Fight Club 3, him and Marla are having a baby, and Tyler comes back into the mix where he starts like seeing himself again. There's another Project Mayhem star that's called Rise to Die. And it's almost like someone emulating what Tyler created with Project Mayhem. And Jack Sebastian, or Barthazar, whatever you want to call him at this point, he wants to stop him, and he almost recreates Tyler and brings him back to stop that. So he has to join Tyler to stop what this thing represents, which reminds him of the original Project Mayhem.
The book ending definitely kind of gives it a little bit more of a closure, but it's still going.
Yes.
I like
So
that, actually.
I like both endings for different reasons. I like the open-ended ending where, okay, like, so how is Project Mayhem still going if we just saw Tyler die? And it leaves the question of like what's going to happen next. So it definitely works as like a stinger, as like a what's going to happen next? How is this, so as far as a sequel, it leaves the pages blank for that sequel to happen. But also I kind of like the movie ending because it's conclusive. It's over. Tyler's dead. The consequences of Project Mayhem are still happening, but it's almost like there's clarity in Jack for the first time in the entire movie, where he seems confident of saying everything's going to be okay. Trust me.
Very much a closing of one chapter and the opening of a new kind of world where, okay, all these buildings are gone and okay, everybody's free now. So like what does that mean for the world?
He couldn't have had that moment unless he went through everything that he did to kind of like wake up from this weird funk and weird delusion that he has throughout the entire movie, that obviously is within him and something that he created. But I feel like if he didn't have all these weird fucking disturbing things go on with Tyler and everything that we see in the movie, he probably wouldn't have had that moment with Marla and is seeing clearly for the first time. I like to believe that that's the happy ending.
It's a very full circle moment from the guy who basically spent his entire life just buying things,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure racking up a ridiculous amount of debt in the process,
Mm-hmm.
to then turn around and be like, no, this is how we're going to liberate people. All the people who, like me, have spent all of their money and raised up debt that is going to be held over their head forever. This will set them free.
So I wrote these down literally for you because I wasn't
Oh, good.
sure. I
Yes.
wasn't sure if you were going to be able to notice this, but I'm hoping that when you do rewatch, you catch it, or you're like, now I actually remember seeing that. So before I said in the office, the copy of a copy of a copy. So it's almost like he's the copy of him. We have the exact same briefcase. Mentioned that to you already.
That was a good one.
When his apartment blows up and he's on the ground floor, he talks about earlier. He's like, if I saw something clever like a coffee table in the shape of a yin yang, I had to have it. And you see the yin yang coffee table, yin and yang, same thing, opposite sides.
Opposite coin.
There's a time where he says something like it sounds like it was coming out of Tyler's mouth, and he's like, sometimes Tyler spoke for me. Marla calls Tyler's house in the beginning. And if you think about it, how did she call the Paper Street house? So when they exchange information, when they're like, just in case if you want to change dates, when they're like splitting up all of the meetings,
Right.
she gets his condo's phone number.
Oh,
So
right.
how did she call Tyler's house or Paper Street house? I told you before, Jack, Tyler, and Marla are never in the same room. You never see Tyler actually talking to her. I can't have you talking to me about her. I can't have you talking about her. You promise? You promise? You promise? 3 times promise. He makes sure there's so many times throughout the movie where it's like, you talking to her about me again? Where it gets to be like a red flag. Like, why do you care if she's talking about you? You're fucking the girl, as far as we're concerned.
Right. I was gonna say, wasn't there the one moment where like he was peeking in on them through the crack of the door, like,
That's
and
when
then
he walks up with the rubber gloves on and he's
I was
fingering
just
his own
going, I was going to bed.
yeah, he's fingering his own belly button for some reason. He's like, you want to finish her off? And then she wakes up and she's like, I found the cigarettes. Who are you talking to? Tyler's words coming out of my mouth. I said that to you before. And also the thing that I noticed last time was Tyler pulls the gun out of Jack's bag before they put it to Raymond's head in the back of the convenience store.
That's crazy.
I fucking love this movie, man. And I definitely suggest at some point giving it a rewatch because I feel like this is one of those movies where I expect it to age every time because I don't watch it very often because I've seen it so many times. And like you said before, it's 26 years old. But every time I watch it, I expect it to age and like show its age, but I notice something new or something hits different or I don't know. It's one of those movies where rewatchability is such a key factor because of the twist.
Yeah, I definitely feel like watching it now, knowing what I know, it would
Yeah.
definitely be a very different experience.
Mhm.
But yeah, the first time watching it with like this kind of a critical eye on it was definitely uh more entertaining than I was expecting it to be, but also way fucking weirder than I was expecting it to be.
Well, it's supposed to be weird. It's
They barely used the soap at all. Like nobody washed themselves at all. They all this blood and nobody used any soap.
well, the soap is supposed to be symbolic where if you look at a bar of soap, you look at it as an innocent bar of soap. There's nothing harmful about it. It's a bar of fucking soap. Kind of like the way you look at Jack, where he's just a regular person in a functional society working a 9 to 5 job, but inside of him is that fucking madman Tyler Durden. Just like if you take the ingredients of a bar of soap, you can create dynamite with it. So that's supposed to be the symbolic thing about it.
It does very much lean itself to you need soap, just like you need the everyman to do the
Mhm.
jobs that they're doing. And without soap, it would just be a very stinky place.
Yeah. Yeah, I did you catch what is it? It's in the lie scene. I think where he's it's weird how something just like something as I have no idea if there's any truth behind this, but it's a weird concept to think about where he's talking about the way soap was created. It's something that we use in our everyday life that is clean and its meaning and what we use it for. That they say they were like holding human sacrifices on the top of the hill, and the burnt body remains would flow down the river and would leave us a bubbly discharge. And they found when they cleaned their clothes near there, the lye in the water was helping clean the clothes better without it.
I wonder how accurate that actually is.
I have no idea how accurate that is, but I hope it kind of is. I would suggest reading the book.
Okay.
It's faithful enough where a lot of it is word for word and you're gonna read and be like that's exactly how it was and you'll appreciate that like they didn't change much to it, but
Right.
just like I explained with the ending, there's subtle differences and things that are in there that make you appreciate both in different forms, and that's why Fight Club the book and Fight Club the movie are one of my favorite movies and books, but I could appreciate both of them for being the same thing and different at the same time.
It's very rare that you get a piece of media that sticks true to the source material.
The
So
book's better. Why do they change it so much? Wow, that movie's better than the book, but it's nothing like it.
right.
It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it's nice to see that there are movies that were based off of books that actually very much stuck to what the source was and then just kind of tweaked it a little bit just for perspective. If you're having trouble, don't turn to violence. Go seek therapy. Talking to people is okay.
But it's okay to just punch someone in the face every now and again.
As long as it's not me.
No, I would never. So that was Fight Club. Appreciate you guys hanging out with Leo V and myself for a little bit, checking out the video. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And until the next one, from myself
And me.
appreciate you guys. Later.
Later.